Welcome back to the deep dive. You know how we do it here. We take your sources, articles, notes, whatever you send, and we really dig in.
Yep, we boil it all down. Pull out the absolute must-know insights.
Exactly. It's like your shortcut to getting smart on a topic, fast, with,
Mhm.
hopefully some interesting bits along the way.
And today, oh boy, we're diving into something pretty universal. Love and dating can be amazing, right?
Mm.
Or, well, sometimes really painful.
Totally. We're looking at a chapter someone sent in about applying this thing called the let them theory, specifically to romance.
Yeah.
Our mission basically is to try and cut through some of that dating confusion, that modern relationship headache.
hmm
We're really going to zero in on behavior, using this source to figure out like who's actually choosing you and maybe, just maybe, how to stop chasing after people who, well, aren't.
And the source acknowledges this right away.
Ah.
Love, it's this huge, powerful thing we all want, deeply.
Mm.
But then there's the gap, between what we hope for and what's actually happening. That's where the pain comes in. And this theory, it seems to tackle that disconnect head on.
Okay, so let's jump straight into the core principle. The big idea this source keeps coming back to.
Which is,
Fundamentally, people choose who they love and how they love them. Adults make these choices.
okay,
And the hard part, sometimes they just won't choose you. That's a tough pill to swallow sometimes.
it really is. And that's where the let them theory itself really kicks in. The source is super clear on this.
Yeah.
People's behavior, that's the truth teller. Forget the words just for a second. What are they doing? That tells you how they really feel.
Actions speak louder. Right, the classic saying.
Exactly. And the source points out this trap, this really common, painful trap, chasing love.
Or maybe chasing the idea of love, the potential.
Yeah, exactly. What it could be.
Yeah.
And the source argues that this chase, it leads straight to compromising your own values, giving away your power.
Oh, I think we all know that feeling. Like your whole mood depends on whether that person you met online texts back.
Totally. Or you get ghosted by someone you barely know, and suddenly your self-esteem just tanks.
Right. Or maybe you're in something longer and you've just
Yeah.
sort of gotten used to being dismissed, accepted it.
It's kind of wild how fast logic just goes out the window when feelings get involved, isn't it?
Yeah.
The source talks about how we start making excuses, explaining away bad behavior, inconsistent stuff. We build these fantasies instead of just looking at what's actually happening.
Or we stay stuck
Right.
in something that's clearly not working just because, I don't know, being alone feels scarier than the discomfort we know.
That's a big one. The fear of the unknown.
But there's hope here, the source says. There's a promise. If you get this let them theory,
Mm-hmm.
you can learn that crucial difference. Chasing versus choosing. Get clear on who's actually worth your energy, your commitment. And by changing how you show up,
How you react.
yeah, what you accept, you
Yeah.
basically create the space for the kind of partnership you actually deserve.
And what's really interesting, I think, is a focus isn't on, changing yourself to get someone.
Right.
It's about changing your actions, your boundaries, so you can see who's genuinely drawn to the real you.
Okay, so how does this actually work in, let's be honest, the kind of brutal world of modern dating?
Yeah, it's not easy out there. The source definitely doesn't sugarcoat it. Nobody finds it simple or just plain fun, do they?
No way. There's that collective sigh, that dread about putting yourself out there again.
Yeah, and the source suggests some of this difficulty comes from, dating apps,
Yeah.
social media, how it's
Yeah.
going to turn finding love into, I don't know, a game,
Yeah.
an industry, a competition.
You definitely see that reflected in a lot of the dating advice, don't you? It's all about tricks and tips, rules to win someone.
Yeah, land a relationship.
The source is pretty harsh on that. Says it's basically the worst way to approach finding real love, a committed partnership.
Because it's not a game. You shouldn't
Yeah.
have to trick someone into caring.
Right. So if you're not supposed to play games, what do? That's the big question.
And the source offers this, almost counterintuitive idea. Stop trying so hard. Stop trying to follow external rules or be someone you're not.
Instead.
Focus on stopping the behaviors that aren't working for you. Just be you, authentically. And trust that the right person, the one who fits, will find you and appreciate that.
I like that shift. It's less, how do I make them like me? and more.
How do I just be me and see who sticks
And
around?
exactly. The source says if you have high standards, dating kind of becomes this natural process of elimination. And
Hmm.
the let them theory gives you that framework. It helps you stay honest with yourself, gives you the courage to just let people show you who they really are.
While you stay grounded in who you are.
Yeah, but that takes guts, right?
Yeah.
The source points that out. It takes real bravery to just see disinterest and accept it.
Mhm. And confidence, too, to realize that, someone texting you all the time doesn't automatically mean they want to build something real or even make plans.
The second you start making excuses for that flaky
You're
behavior.
giving your power away. Gone.
So basically, the source is pushing for this really clear view, almost black and white about behavior in dating.
Yeah. It's less about chasing potential, more about choosing wisely from the start, identifying the right fit.
And this connects to maybe a surprising take the source has on the purpose of dating itself.
Well, yeah. What's that?
It really challenges that idea that dating is only about finding the one, that singular focus.
Okay. Interesting. So what is it about then, primarily?
According to the source,
Hmm.
it's mostly about learning about yourself. What do you actually want? What are your deal breakers? What stuff do you genuinely not like?
Huh. So every date, even the bad ones.
Especially the bad ones, maybe. They teach you something crucial about behavior you won't tolerate anymore, about the kind of person you really want.
And if you're just obsessing over the one, you might miss those lessons.
That's the idea. You miss the self-discovery part.
Yeah.
And the source reminds you, like, your life is yours. You weren't put here just to be someone's partner.
Right. You create your life. A partner gets to share that life with you.
Exactly. Which is why being choosy, being discerning matters so much.
So dating becomes more like exploration, gathering data.
Yeah, learning through different experiences, which ultimately helps you choose someone amazing who also genuinely chooses you back. That mutuality is key.
Oh, yeah, but the source is realistic too, right? It says there are things you can't control.
Oh, absolutely. You cannot control if someone else chooses you. Can't control timing. Like we said, people choose who and how they love. Sometimes it's just not going to be you.
And this is the important part. What can you control?
That's where you get your power back. You control who you love and how you love. You control who gets your time, your energy.
On how you expect to be treated.
Absolutely. You control that 100%. And exercising that control, the source says, often means finding the courage to just walk away when you're not getting what you deserve.
Which brings us right to the action part, spotting the chase and stopping it.
Right. Those early dating stages, they're exciting, sure. But the source warns that's also when we're super vulnerable.
Vulnerable to what?
To saying yes to the wrong people. Because of attraction, maybe, or that emotional rush, or just fear of being alone, that desperate hope for the fairy tale ending.
Yeah, it's so easy to convince yourself something's more than it is, isn't it?
Totally. Like, are those repeated late-night hookups really going somewhere deep? Probably not.
Or that person you only ever see in one specific context. Like, always at the bar, never for coffee. Are they building a future? Or just looking for convenience?
We tell ourselves stories. We create narratives that just aren't real.
And this is where that classic wisdom comes in. The source really highlights it.
Which is?
If someone likes you, you'll know. If they don't, you'll be confused.
Ah, yes. Confusion. The source calls that a really dangerous state in dating.
Right. Because what do we usually do when we're
We
confused?
try harder. We try to figure it out, get clarity. We double down.
Exactly. We convince ourselves that confusion means something complicated. But the source says, nope. Do the opposite. Let them confuse you.
Wait, let them confuse you. That sounds wrong. Why embrace confusion?
Because, according to the source, the only people who make you feel truly, deeply confused are the ones who don't like you back. Not in the way you're hoping for, anyway.
So confusion is the signal. Their behavior's way of saying.
You're not a priority. It's a clear message, just not the one you want to hear. And when you ignore that signal, when you keep trying to convince yourself something's there when it's not, that's chasing.
And chasing is pointless. Worse than pointless.
Pretty much. The source says it's counterproductive. Chasing the wrong person takes you further away from the right one. Chasing potential means you're actively ignoring the reality right in front of you.
Okay, so how do you know if you're doing it? Are there signs?
Oh yeah, the source gives a whole list. Super practical. Like, are you always the one reaching out first? Initiating everything? Are you pinning your hopes on, like, drunk hookups turning into a real relationship?
Oh, sure.
Are you kind of strategically showing up places hoping they'll just see you and fall madly in love?
Ouch. Okay, what else?
Believing their words. Maybe they say nice things sometimes, even when their actions consistently show the opposite.
That's a big one. Words versus deeds.
Telling yourself, oh, time will fix it, or they'll come around eventually.
Ah,
Thinking you know what's best for them, and that it's obviously you, even though they're not acting like it.
right.
Only seeing them in really limited, easy contexts, like just at bars or quick, low-effort things. Thinking you can somehow fix them, or change their mind about you.
Or that one perfect text. That'll be the magic bullet.
Exactly, all of those. Classic signs of chasing potential, actively choosing not to see what's real.
It's like that shoe analogy the source uses, trying to jam your foot into a shoe that's just the wrong size.
It's never going to work. The shoe won't magically change shape, and neither will they. Not because you want them to. You gotta stop chasing.
And the consequence is huge, isn't it? The source is pretty blunt.
Very blunt. All that time and energy you waste chasing the wrong people. That's time you're not available to find someone who actually will choose you.
Which leads to the two sides of the theory, right? The let them.
Like, let them ghost you. Let them be who they are.
And the really important let me part.
Let me move on. Take your power back.
So what are the key things the source says you absolutely have to stop doing?
Okay, the big ones. Stop chasing potential. That's number one.
Got it.
Stop pouring your energy into people who aren't giving it back, clearly. Stop making excuses for disrespect. Stop rationalizing their lack of interest.
Stop chasing people who aren't choosing you. Seems obvious, but it's hard.
It is hard. And stop playing games. Trying to win something that isn't real.
The message is stark, but also kind of freeing, saying NO to the wrong ones.
Is the fastest way to make space for the right site.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. This theory forces that brutal honesty. What's really going on here?
Okay, so we mentioned let them ghost you, let me move on. Let's dig into that duality more. Let them and let me.
Right. And the source keeps hammering this point. Behavior, in this context, is pretty black and white.
How so?
You're either a priority in someone's life or you're not. There's no real gray area when you just look at what they do.
Which brings us back to let them show you who they are.
Exactly. Because if you're busy chasing, trying to get a certain reaction, you never actually see the reality of how they feel. Their actions get obscured by your efforts.
And those infamous mixed signals.
The source says, not mixed at all. They send one very clear message.
Which is?
You're not a priority, you're a convenience.
An option.
Oof, convenience. Can you give examples from the source?
Yeah, like someone texts you constantly, keeps you engaged, interested, but never actually makes solid plans, never suggests meeting up properly.
The perpetual texting, buddy.
Totally. Or they only hit you up when they're in town, usually late, usually implying, a hookup. Then, poof, gone again.
Right. That's convenience, not connection.
Exactly. And in those situations, the source says, lean into the let them. Let them text forever without plans. Let them only call when it suits them.
Okay.
And then here's the twist. The source pivots. It says, in that scenario, they're not actually the problem.
Wait, they're not the problem? Then who is?
You are.
Whoa. Okay, explain that. How am I the problem if they're the one being flaky?
Because, the source argues, you're not valuing your own time and energy enough. You're not respecting yourself enough to see this is going nowhere and disengage. You are participating in being treated as an option.
Ah, okay, so my allowing it makes me part of the problem.
Exactly. Which leads right into the let me side. This is where you reclaim your agency.
How? Where does it start?
It starts with, let me wake up. Let me be honest with myself. Because the more time you spend chasing these fantasies, these unavailable people,
The less available you are for someone real. Precisely.
Yeah.
Energetically, practically. You're tied up.
So let me respect myself enough to admit this isn't going anywhere.
Yes. You have the power to cut that cord. If someone's stringing you along, you're letting them hold the string.
Yeah.
You're participating. Think about it. If you were in a happy, secure relationship, would you even entertain that late night you up text?
No way. You'd dismiss it instantly. See it for what it is.
Right. So taking your power back means owning your part, admitting you allowed it.
And then
Then it's, let me remind myself what I actually want. A mutual relationship,
mutual effort,
mutual respect.
mutual feelings, attraction, interest. All of it. Mutual.
So if you find yourself constantly making excuses for their lack of effort,
Stop. Just stop. The source is very clear. Don't explain it away. Instead, let them reveal who they are. Let them show if they'll make an effort. Let them show if they care through their actions.
so the confusion we feel, it's really coming from us.
Mostly, yes. It's our refusal to accept the truth their behavior is showing us, which is usually they just don't care as much as we wish they did. That's painful.
It is. But you can't control how someone else feels. And trying to change yourself, twist yourself into knots for someone who isn't choosing you anyway, that's just a recipe for heartbreak.
The source lists some common traps too, right? Things that guarantee heartbreak later.
Oh yeah. Jumping to conclusions too fast. Blind hope with no evidence. Trying to change who you are. Clinging to the idea of love, not the reality in front of you. Deluding yourself about commitment levels.
And settling, just settling because being single feels too hard.
Yeah, all those things might feel okay in the moment, but they lead to pain down the road, almost guaranteed.
So let's bring it back to that core clarity one last time, that key phrase.
If they like you, you'll know. If they don't, you'll be confused.
Right. So applying the theory looks like, let them not text back.
Let them make drunk promises they don't keep.
Let them leave quickly in the morning.
Let them confuse you. Let them send mixed signals. Let their behavior just be.
Your job isn't to interpret or fix it. It's just to receive the message their behavior sends.
Exactly. The source says the let them part, just observing. That's actually the easy bit, conceptually.
The hard part is,
The let me part. Let me see them for who their actions show they are. Let me accept the truth, even if it hurts the truth, that I'm not a priority here.
the real work is stopping yourself, stopping the chase, stopping choosing people who clearly aren't choosing you back.
Yep. And that final punchline from the source really sums it all up.
Which is,
If they are making an effort, a consistent, clear effort towards you, they simply are not worth yours.
wow, that just flips the whole script, doesn't it?
Totally. It's not about earning their effort anymore. It's about recognizing and matching only the effort that's already there, mutually.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive then. We've really seen the power in just focusing on behavior, right? That's the let them.
Yeah, and the absolute necessity of self-respect and honesty. The let me, taking your power back.
Understanding why chasing potential just doesn't work. And seeing dating not as a game to win, but as this process of like self-discovery and careful selection.
And applying this whole theory, the source argues it's really about freeing yourself, breaking that cycle of confusion and chasing.
Making space for something real, something mutual, someone who chooses you enthusiastically.
Exactly, the relationship you actually deserve.
All right, so here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on based on everything we've discussed today from the source material. If behavior truly tells the truth about how people feel in dating, what might you learn if you apply that same principle elsewhere?
Yeah, think about other relationships, friendships, family, maybe even work stuff. What truths might their behavior reveal if you just let it?